good morning, everyone, and I want to welcome you to Light Beyond the Clouds. I'm really excited today. I have Katie Martino on here, and she's actually an intuitive coach. So this is going to be a lot of fun with both of us to go back and forth, and the way our gifts can be so different, but also the same. How you get from one, and then the other one kind of picks up. It's like in heaven that we have many angels and we have many guides. They come into our life and help us at different parts. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you about this in your journey. I know that this is something when we talked briefly about how you've always wanted to do, and this is something now you're really starting to implement into your life. So when I was connecting with my angels, I had some questions and things that they wanted to kind of ask you about. You know how sometimes somebody can ask you a question and you really don't think about it until you actually hear it. So my
Totally.
first one is what guided your soul to want to do this, Katie? They're wanting me to ask you this because I think you know, but I don't think you've ever really ask yourself this question. So I want to ask you, what guided your soul to want to do this for people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great question. And for me, even when I was little, very, very little, I remember my Nana always telling me that I had a gift, right? That I had this gift and I didn't know what it meant. And so I kind of put it away and I would say things and people would say like, oh, that's not right. Or I don't know. How could you see people? How could you feel things? How do you know things? And I've always just been able to see people a little bit differently. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
the first time it came to me very clearly was I was 6 years old. It was before cell phones. Our car got stuck in the snow and it was Christmas Eve. We were on the way to my Nana's house. It was my mom, my brother, and I. And we were in the car. And what are you going to do? Like, we couldn't call anyone, right? And my mom tells me, as the story goes, that I kept saying, Mom, don't worry. The angels are coming. You're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And like 10 minutes later, this truck came out of nowhere with these two huge men that were able to fix whatever was wrong with the car, and we were on our way again. And I think that for me was like the seed that was planted.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think about that, right? I didn't think about that a lot. Fast forward, and there were signs all the time. And for me, I think of signs as like seeds, and some are meant to nourish us and let us know that our loved ones are around us and protecting us. And some are like meant to help us grow. And I think for me, that was the moment of my soul kind of connecting and knowing that there were angels around me. But I didn't really do a lot with it until I was much, 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 much older. Around maybe 30, 35, I went to this chakra reading lady that someone had told me to go to. And I'm open to try whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll totally do it. And I went, and she was just bang, 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 telling me things that no one could know about me. And I thought, this is amazing. And I want to try to tap into that if I can offer that same kind of comfort that this woman, who I didn't even know, offered me. And that kind of
So that
started me on my studying journey.
so this is what I feel, and I think it's so interesting when we all have like these different intuitive gifts. And like I've always said, it's like being in school. We will connect
Mhm.
more with math, science, English, but it doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's just when we go to people and we receive these messages, it's always to give us hope and comfort. And to me, it's always to let you know there's more. For me, it was always connecting people to heaven, their loved ones in heaven, right, and helping them to find peace on this journey and to let them know they're not alone. I think we people so many times will say, I'm alone, right? And I'll
Mhm.
show pictures, people, I've shown you the pictures of the orbs and people that you just have to understand there's no such thing. So when you open up somebody's soul, and like with you, this is such a major awakening, you've always had it.
Mhm.
We all have it though. That's the whole thing, is it's with inside all of us. And it's about opening people up. We're not going to all do what we do, right? Not everyone's going to be doing this, every day, all the time.
100%.
But you better believe in your life that you're always being guided. You're being guided to look this way, go this way. The soul is always being connected to heaven. And this is what's so beautiful about this. The more people get awakened to this, because we need it so much today. See, I think the
Mhm.
veil is really being lifted more than it ever has to heaven, that we're feeling more, and that when we connect more, it's just so amazing. People get so excited when they will message me and I'll say, try to work on this or do this. This is how I feel. They're connecting. And they'll email or message me and say, oh my God, I had a spiritual connection. Like, it
Mhm.
made me so happy to change my life. We all want to feel the connection. So what you're doing too, also, I think is really, it's amazing, to want to help people and teach them to quiet the mind. It's the hardest thing to do, is to learn to take the time to quiet the mind and the soul, because we're always doing something and thinking about something else. And they're a higher vibration or energy than us, right? The
Totally.
divine world is a much higher vibration. So when you just quiet yours a little bit, and raise it, they meet us there. That's why dreams are such a big way they connect with us, because we shut down long enough that they can reach us. So I like that you are now, you're actually teaching this now. Is this what you're actually doing? I
Mm-hmm.
like you to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, and I don't know if you remember this, but we had a reading about a year ago, and I was talking about how I really wanted to move into energy work more and working with people,
Mhm.
and I believe that meditation is a big part of it, sitting in quiet, and I think that when we do that, it brings trust, right? And trust for
Mhm.
those tiny moments when you get that idea in your head that I should call this person because I've really been thinking about them, and you call them. And it happened to me the other day, a couple weeks ago. I just was really thinking of my best friend, and I couldn't, like, she just wouldn't leave my head. So I gave her a call, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, how did you know? I had the worst day." And it was like, I think those are spirit messages, right? Those are messages that we're connecting and that
Absolutely.
our loved ones are sending through us to say, hey, give that person a call. They need to know they're not alone.
So for me, I always say to everybody after I do a session, like, people will get so excited when I'll say your mother's here, your son, your child, your father came through, and they get so excited. But for me, when I give that really little message, what I mean? It could be just what they ate last night. And I'll get things like what they're
Yes.
going to do tomorrow. And I'll say, well, you're going to the park tomorrow, your grandfather, and they'll go, see, to me, I always feel like the small ones are so big. I've always said that to me, the small messages are so, so big, because
Mhm.
it just means how they are so alive. I always never say someone died. I always say they went to heaven, because they're more alive than we are. They are so alive in heaven. They can do everything and see everything. And I'm really trying to change people's hearts and minds about this. So what you and I do, it's so connected, but it's also offers to understand
Yes.
something so different, but it makes it whole, right? When you bring it together, it's like, oh my gosh, you have this. And then, oh my gosh, it's about a continuation, because the mind is a muscle. You have to work at it. If you want to connect, I always say to people, don't do this for a week and get frustrated and say,
Mhm.
it didn't work. Don't test the divine. Don't challenge them. It comes to you in divine time when it's supposed to. If you get things too early, I mean, it's never the way it was supposed to be for you. So for me, patience is a big thing to try to help people with, because
Mhm.
people will want to connect, but then they want it immediately. They think they can just, I mean, that it's going to be on their time. It does come, right? The divine knows when we're supposed to have something. They know so much more than we do, and they're so beautiful, and they just love us unconditionally. And yes, like with you, when you get that thought, I do this all the time, and you think about somebody and you call them or you message them, and they'll say, I needed this today. Like, my heart was
Mhm.
hurting and I needed this. You have to look at it, it's like a phone call. When you reach out to them, they're answering.
Yep.
They're always hearing us. There is never any message or any prayer that goes unanswered or unheard. So that's what's so beautiful about this. They don't turn away or ignore us. They understand and they're bringing it to us. So I think with the more people open up to this, and we need it today, people
Mhm.
need it. We're lost. And you can connect with them in your car. It doesn't always have to be, if they don't have the time to do like a major guided meditation, because sometimes, and you understand this too, people will say, I don't have time to meditate for 20 minutes. I don't know how. So it's also giving them the tools to say, when you have the time, yes, do this, but you're not going to always have it. And you can still connect with them like this. If you're reaching out to them, when your thoughts are messages, they hear our thoughts, they feel our energy. So there's so many ways to connect. And it's about giving people hope in this, right? And saying, please don't give up. Please don't give up.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
might
And
not have
that's one of
worked
my
for you.
favorite things, right? When I'm doing groups in my space. And for me, I realized that when I sat in silence, I started hearing things. I started
Yeah.
getting reassurances. I was inviting it into my life. And I wanted to
Mhm.
make a space where people could come and do that. So the other day we did like a 7 girl group meditation, and all these messages started coming through for people. But what was really cool is people started bringing messages through for themselves because they were
That's
able to quiet the mind enough to hear, because I do think our loved ones always want to connect with us. And if we can get to a place where we give ourselves a little bit of space from our thoughts, I believe that we'll start hearing those messages too.
And that's what's also really important. Like when I do my group session, my soul circles, I like to do those once a month. And I talk people through a guided meditation. And as I'm sure you do also, because sometimes when you allow people, and then at the end, I want them to sit with their own thoughts. But in the beginning, I talk them through the meditation, because otherwise I know they're thinking about, I hope they come through, their mind starts to, because we do this, right? We have
Yep.
so much talk all day long. We will want something, we'll ask the divine for it, and then we'll immediately say, it's probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It won't work. So we immediately, right, we will second guess or we're doubt. I always just say, when you ask for something you really want, just leave it there and know it's going to happen. Set your intention. Your intention is so important, because the divine knows when we ask for something that sometimes it's like, well, well, yeah, maybe, I hope, or it really doesn't matter. But when you just say, I really, really need this, I would like this to
Mhm.
come, this is what my soul needs, and you imagine it as if it's already happened. See, to me, I will do that every time I want something. I go into something 100%. If I make up my mind, it's like I know it came from somewhere else, and I will stick with it, and I will find another way. If I get sidetracked, I know there's another way. It's like a GPS, right? When you get lost, it says make a legal U-turn, and it just finds another direction. That's what your angels and your guides are. They're
Mhm.
your guides on your life's journey. And sometimes we want to go a certain direction, and they're saying, yeah, but this is really, the one that's going to be best for you.
Mhm.
So that's why even you, when you do these meditations, it is important for people to learn how, because they can take that with them anytime during the day. It doesn't matter, right? You can connect at any single time that you need to. So once you get in that habit of saying, I really need you, I need to connect, please. And you can ask for signs. That's another thing people don't
Mhm.
think. You can ask for signs. You can. You can ask them for what you need. Be patient, right? I will ask for confirmations. I will ask for signs when it's something that's very, very important, right? And they will show me. But the greatest thing is when you can give the time, right? And when you just set the intention and really want it, it's not something to play with. You can't test them or play with them. They're
Yeah.
just love and light. They are divine spiritual beings that all they're going to give you is incredible light and peace.
So
And
can
and I
I tell
love
you a really funny story about that you're saying that's so resonating for me? And I don't even know. Well, I think I told you this, but I can't remember. So we had a reading a couple days ago, which I had scheduled months and months and months ago. And I was doing a meditation like maybe a day before the reading. And I saw us on a podcast together. And I was like, I am not telling Renee this. She has a legit podcast, right? Like I cannot say, I'm just not doing it. And then I kept hearing the message, like, you should. And I'm like, I'm just not doing it. And literally about 30 minutes before our session, you text me and I wrote it down because I wanted to, in case it came up.
Mhm.
And it said, Katie, I'll call you on Messenger tonight. And I'm being told to tell you, trust what you are hearing and feeling. You are being guided. Because I kept
You
saying, I'm not telling her that. No way I'm telling her that. And here we are, right? And when I told you, you said the exact same thing to me. Like, if those are signs, don't poo-poo them away. Like, let's do this. So, I
and
just think
I
that's such a testament to your message, right?
but I think it's just, and I thank you for sharing that too, because I just think it's really, I think it's important. Like we will sense things ahead of time. Like I get messages, I get downloads. I call them downloads. It's like memos from the head office, right? You look at yourself
Mm-hmm.
like your computer and you're getting these downloads, but you're getting from this place that, oh God, it's just love. It's just beyond. I've seen things since I was a little girl. I mean, I've gone places and seen things and come back and told people things with healing, with no matter what it is. And it's just so incredible, and it's something you share with other, right? That's what a gift is. To me, you just
Mm-hmm.
have a gift means you give it and you share it, and that's what we're doing. You share it with others, and it's meant to enlighten their life. And also when I receive a message, it's always, if I get something, people ask me a lot, do you get anything negative or bad? I will get things that sometimes are meant to help people or guide them,
A
right? When
hundred
I pass on
percent.
a message, I will never scare somebody with something. I will never say, watch out for this or this is bad. Or if
Mm-hmm.
I feel something, you give it to somebody in a way that's going to help them and that's going to bring them peace and not going to scare them. You never want somebody to feel frightened when they walk away from you or feel scared or have doubts, because that's not what heaven does. And if people are receiving that, they're getting it from somewhere else, because
Absolutely.
heaven is just this beautiful place. But like even with you with this, it's just when you feel it so strongly, right? I will reach out and message people at that second because it's so much bigger, and I know that I'm supposed to pass this message on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt as if I was supposed to have you on, that I wanted you to be able to talk about what you're doing, because I was receiving from your grandmother, it was going to help you in ways too, that being able to do this, and actually it's kind of like a coming out, right? In a way,
Mm-hmm.
it's like saying, I'm not going to be afraid anymore, because sometimes you've held some of this to yourself, that there was people in your life or around you that you were not always comfortable, wondering, do they think this is for real? Is this just something she's dabbling in? You know how sometimes people in your
Mm-hmm.
energy didn't always quite, they're like, oh, this is just a thing. Oh, you're going to get over this. This is for fun. But your soul was like, no, no, this is something I'm being guided to. I want to teach people this because I wish somebody would have taught me this. I wished
Right.
when I'm feeling this, do you understand? This is why I feel
Yeah.
you were teaching,
It's such
because
a
it was as
beautiful
if
sense of peace, right? When you realize that there's so much love around
yes,
you and that you can give it and you can receive it and we deserve it just because we're here.
100%. Katie, and this is why I believe you want to teach people,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like your whole life when you had this, you wish somebody could have taught you how
A
or
hundred
shown you
percent.
when you sat with this. So now you're giving back. But see, you had to go through it like that in order to be the teacher. So you had to feel what it was like to want something so much and feel like, I kind of feel alone in this, but I feel like I'm not at the same time. Why is it nobody's believing me? Why do I feel like I have this, but I don't think really people think I'm just kidding around about this or it's not real. But in your soul, it was just be patient. We're helping you. You had to go through a little bit of struggle in order
Mhm.
to now say, now I know what I'm doing and I'm going to help anybody and everybody that wants to come to me. And I love that.
And don't you feel like once it clicks for you, it's a pull from a different part of your body? Like for me, it's a pull from my gut. Like I just keep
It's up
getting
here.
pulled toward it. It's not pushing, right? Like sometimes you have to push yourself to do things, but I think when you're meant to do something or it keeps coming back up, you feel it in a different place in your body.
So that can take us into another whole subject that
Yeah.
I love. This is what I always say to people when you receive a message, when you just have an absolute message, it comes from that higher. I always just say, I mean, it's that it's that higher part in your stomach where you
Mhm.
just say, and sometimes the message is you don't always know, Katie, everything 100%, but you just know, right? At the same time, you just say, I don't understand it, but I know something is guiding me to go, guiding me not to go. It's telling me to do something. I'm not quite sure because see, that's your soul, that's your spirit, that's who we are, right? That's our energy. The head is what gets in the way. The head is what gets us into trouble because it tries to override the soul. But the soul will
Mhm.
always keep you in the same place. It's your truth. It's where it will be the same tomorrow and forever, right? The head changes second to second, day to day, minute to minute, according to who we're talking to, what we're watching,
Yep.
right? Go, stay, don't do this. But the
Mhm.
soul is like, no, it's your home, right? It's
Mhm.
been with you since time began. So I want to let you go ahead and talk about that for a second too, because it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, and I think in this world, right, we're almost conditioned to live in our head, and it's really hard to just take a deep breath and realize like we're a whole body and a whole person and we're more than our thoughts. And um just settling in and being able to hear our own voice. I think far too often we allow the voices of others to be our voice because we just don't even have the time maybe to sit and think of it, or we don't make the time. For so long, I had so many people telling me, you should meditate. And I would say, that's what other people do. I don't meditate. Why would I do that? I don't have time to do that. And then it was suggested to me to try this candle meditation. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'll try anything once. And you literally like light a candle and you just stare at it. And I remember feeling so rejuvenated, and I couldn't remember why, that like I was able to not have a thought or to let my thoughts just move through my head for a few minutes. And it was so freeing. And I just kept being pulled to do it more and more and more. And the more and more I would do it, the more I just started seeing the blessings come in my life. I felt like it was just inviting those things. And the more you feel good, right, the more you want to share that with other people.
I'm going to say the majority of people are really open to this. They all want to know there's something more, no matter who you are. I do many, many people from many walks of life. I do people
Mhm.
that, have very big jobs. I have people, it doesn't matter, but they all come because they want that connection. Your job doesn't define you, right? It's not going to be the thing that's going to comfort you. We all want to know we have this place that we can go to that we feel is ours, where we all have our own spiritual team. Nobody has more than anybody else. People will say to me, even to me, oh, you probably have more angels than I do because of what you do. And I always say to them, no,
Mhm.
absolutely not. We all have the same divine spiritual team. We are all loved the same in heaven. There is no comparison in heaven. And it's so beautiful. And this is what they want to help us with on this journey. And this is what I really want to convey to people, even besides the messages.
Yeah.
And it's great now too with you doing this. I want people to leave and to know how incredibly connected they are and how validated they are and how loved they are. And the more you open up to this, and this is why it's so important for people like us that do this, that we have to try to reach out. This is why I want to do this podcast, right? Even
Mhm.
in the beginning with my guides and angels, I had been hearing, 7 months before I even did this, this is what we want you to do now. We want you to reach more people. We want more people to be connected. I can't get to everyone. I can't reach all the people that reach out to me. And I feel really bad about that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how do I do this? And I kept hearing, do this podcast, do this podcast. And it was such
Mhm.
a journey to even know how to get started, to find a producer, right? To find a
Yeah.
website to do this. It was so much involved in this. And then it's the time and it's the money and it's the other energy besides clients. But I kept being guided to this. Like, you're supposed to do this
It's like a
because it's going to
pull,
be,
right? Like you just can't ignore
it
it.
just wouldn't stop. It wouldn't leave me. It would not
Mhm.
stop. And it was occupying so much of my energy, right? It's just like, it was nonstop. Even when I wasn't seeing clients, I was researching and trying to figure this out. Then all of a sudden, it's like it just fell into place. I found a producer, right? I reached out to someone and I have this amazing producer, and it just all, everything just started to work. And I thought, this is what I'm supposed to do. It's supposed to help to heal people. It's supposed to give them hope on their daily life and their journey, because you just say to someone, Who doesn't want more hope, right?
Yeah.
Things come and go, but when the soul feels healed and knows what it wants, everything else just seems to, work in your life. And this is what I've always wanted to do since I was a little girl. I've always seen visions. I've seen things, that are yet to come or things that are happening now. And it was very hard for me also to not really to know. As a young child, you just want to be a kid. You have this,
Hmm.
but you didn't really tell people,
Right.
right? You kind of kept it to yourself because you thought, what do I do with this? I was Catholic. You didn't know, are people going to
Yep.
accept this? So, but you just knew it was something so beautiful. I knew that this was something of love, that I always wanted to help someone and tell them your mom is here and she said it's okay. And when you pass on these messages, you just see the weight lift off of people and they say thank you. And I've always said, then how can that be a bad thing? When you see someone's energy shift and it gives them hope, it's never a bad thing when you're coming from the right place. So, even for me too, it was a journey. It's not something you just jump into. It was something you did, being mindful and saying it has to be done the right way, and it has to be, with respectful, and you have to be humbled in it. And this is the reason you're doing too. I always say to people, when you go down this journey and you want to help people with this, you have to understand the lives that you're touching. You have to understand these are real human beings and really people, and what you're saying to them, they're taking to heart. And they have a lot of struggles, and
Yeah.
people need this. And it's got to come from a higher source, and know that you're only right inviting in a higher source. And I'm very mindful, of that, or other people that go on this journey. I always just make sure your intention, what your intention is, and that it has to be, to help people. And you're like that also. And that's what, I love about you. You really want to help other people to lift themselves up.
Yeah.
So is
Thank
there
you. I
any
appreciate
messages?
that. Mhm.
Yeah, and that's what I sensed and felt with you, because you have to be very, you have to, for me, I know when somebody's, I can feel their energies when they come.
Mhm.
I always just say that I can sense somebody's
Mhm.
energy as soon as I see them, even before I see them. It's really interesting. Even when I receive a message from someone, I can almost feel their energy instantly. I start receiving a
Yeah,
message
it's
as
like
soon
they
as I,
invite it in. They like give you the permission.
yes, that they do
Mhm.
this. So with you, we were going to talk about doing this. Do you sense or feel things like when you talk to people immediately? Do you sense or feel things?
I do sense or feel things. And I think I just wanted to touch on one thing you said because it really resonated with me. And I feel like what happened to me before I started giving messages or doing this for
Mhm.
anyone else, I started feeling more connected myself. And what I realized is when I started feeling more connected, I started showing up for myself differently and for the world differently. And then trying to help other people connect. And it just kept growing like this beautiful flower, right? And I think, like you, that's what I want to give people. I want to give people the hope and the feeling of connectiveness, because I feel like when we do and we're rooted in that, we really treat each other and ourselves differently, right? And how amazing is it to just show up better for yourself?
I think it's one of the greatest things that we can do, because when you see people on their daily journey, how people struggle today, and I've said it so many times, the internet, Facebook, all this stuff, it's supposed to help people, but it's made people feel worse. It's
Hmm.
made people feel either down about themselves, you know what I mean, or they compare,
Yeah.
they'll feel like somebody else is having this great time. When we were kids, I know when I was a kid, grew up, you didn't have, any of this stuff, and people were happier, right? Because they had their true friends, they had their inner self. So for me, I'm trying to find other ways. If people are going to watch things, why not try to help yourself? Why not? I want
Yes.
everyone to feel connected. I don't want it to be, just me. That's even
Hmm.
with you. When I first met you, when I knew that, I just knew the first second, I was like, this is what she wants to do. This is part of her
Hmm.
journey. This is what you're going to be doing. I kept saying, like, you're going to be doing this. You're going to want to work with other people. You're going to want to teach. I felt that this was, but you had to go through some things first too, Katie. I felt that, like, you had to go through some growing pains,
A hundred
that it had,
percent.
and this is what they showed. And even with me, but gosh, it just makes you, so much more grateful for it. It's not about them wanting to, hurt you. It's about being in school, right? That you were in school.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just want to go from, first grade to graduate with this. We
Hmm.
get so excited.
Yes.
I want to go, right? Because you don't know what to do with it. It's like so much energy you're feeling. And it's
Hmm.
like, I just want to go. And then all of a sudden you feel like something kind of will set you back and say, sometimes, I don't know, am I supposed to do this? We go through these things. I feel like it's not, what I mean? But then all of a sudden it just seems like you catch your breath and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like the direction comes to you. And this is really where you're at. And now you're actually doing this, because I know you're doing classes. Can you talk to me a little bit about where you're working at and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I turned a space into my house, like a group meditation space, and it turned out originally I just wanted a space for me to sit like with spirit and really just kind of have a place to have a moment. And then I started seeing it in meditations, people coming and being able to do it as a group and doing group readings. So we're offering kind of a couple different things. We did a group last week where we did a guided meditation and we did a little bit of sound therapy with some sound bowls, and then we pulled cards and we just saw like what the spirit message was for everyone and what came through. And it was really cool because like I said before, there was all these women kind of talking, but they started getting messages through and they would say like, oh my gosh, I feel this person next to me, it's like I know they're there. And I'm like, yes, they're there, and they were there before you came in, right? But you had all that chatter in your head and you just couldn't settle into it to just hear it and know it, right? And I think when we don't trust ourselves, there are energies around us and our loved ones around us sending us message to know, like, the send us those messages to trust and to know that they're with us.
Well, and also with this too, we've been so taught, right? We see things on TV, we see movies that people make about this, and we know that there's a lot of people that do it with the wrong intention,
Mm-hmm.
right? People come to me and had very not great experiences, things that were said to them, or people came from a dark place. And so they've learned to be skeptical because people have kind of poo-pooed this so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at this and you just say, how could you possibly know when you meet someone? How could I know their name? How could I know how they passed? How could I know, that you just bought this house last week? How could I know you're going to Hawaii next week? How could I know these things? It comes from a divine place. And the only reason I receive these messages is to help other people. I'm already there. I already understand. But it's to help other people. And it's not just about telling them these things. When they understand those messages and say, how could she know? For me, what it is saying, do you understand on your daily life they're with you? It's not me. They're not here for me. They're here for you. They want to help you on your daily life. They want you to know how loved you are, and they want to guide you, and they
Mm-hmm.
want to comfort you. So that's really, to me, so much part of the message. It's not just a message. It's about opening them up when you leave. Please stay open to this because they're going with you. I have my own,
Yeah.
team of angels in heaven. They're going with you. They came here to give you love and peace and light, and that's all it's about for me. I always just say, for me, it comes from God, and I know, other people. I don't compare or judge what anybody else's journey is. For me, it's always been about my faith because that's what I've seen when I was a little girl. That's the visions that I've been shown.
Yeah.
Right? I don't judge or compare. I want everyone to find this peace in whatever it is, in this enlightenment, the way that it's going to help them on their journey. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big believer in healing. I've had a lot of experiences with doing healing on people. I just think there's so much to this that we are just beginning. Do you understand? This is like an awakening for everyone. That's why I loved having you on today. I was really
Mm-hmm.
guided to ask you to
Oh,
be on because for me, it's fun too, though, Katie, to talk to, other people that have this and, are part
yeah.
of this,
And I
because
think
I
some of the coolest thing about it, right, is they say, like, aren't you so tired when you're done? And I'm like, no, never. I have so much more energy when I'm done with readings or meditations or group work or even individual sessions. Like, I feel so good when I'm finished, like an energy that I just didn't have before. It's amazing.
Well, for me, it's like a big hug. I always say that I could go and
Hmm.
run and get on the treadmill when I get done because they're saying thank you. Do you understand? You're receiving
Yes.
so much love from heaven, and they're so happy that you want to help their loved ones, right? So they come in, your angels are there, their angels are there, and they're saying thank you, right? So I
Hmm.
always look at people that do this, that have this. It's like being out in the ocean at nighttime, like those little beakers that help the ships that light, that blink. And
Yes.
that's what people like us are for the souls. They see us and they know that we have this, right? And so they will come to us and they know that even if they're in our energy, like let's say we're out in the store, I'm out in public. Yes, people always ask me, do you sense messages for people when you're out anywhere? Yes, all the time. But I'm very mindful,
Hmm.
about doing that in public. I'm very mindful about just going up, and into
Yeah.
somebody's space, unless it's something I feel is absolute. It's not easy to hold on to it when I hear it because they're
Hmm.
saying like please, or if I can get them alone somewhere where they're not like in a group or everybody's going to hear, because I try to be very respectful about that. But if I do feel it's something, but you respect people's energy also, because not everyone, even if you're feeling it, doesn't want to
Yeah.
always hear it. But those are the things too you learn as you go. You learn to just say Do I pass this on? Do I hold on to it? Do I
Mhm.
wait till they get out to their car or just wherever? They don't want to think you're stalking them either. But do you understand if you can find a,
Yeah.
a safe place or an energy? But it's also very hard when you feel it, it's
Mhm.
when you feel something for someone, but it's the way that you do it. You have to do it in a way that doesn't make them feel afraid or scared or feel like you're trying to get something from them. So those are questions too. People ask me, what do you do? So what do you do if you're out in public? Do you sense and feel things for people?
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because this happened to me a couple weeks ago. I have a favorite workout class. It's a step class I take every Saturday. Allison's the
Mhm.
teacher. She's amazing. I
Good
don't
for
know
that.
her though. I
Okay.
know the energy that she brings me, but I don't know her. Like we weren't friends that talk like that. And I was in class and I started getting these messages through for her. And I'm trying to do step aerobics and I'm talking to the universe and I'm like, okay, I can't give it to the message right now. And I left the class, right? I had a great workout, left. The following week I came back, same message started coming through again. And I was like, okay, universe, I don't know her. What am I going to say? I'm going to walk up, right? And I didn't do it. And I go back the next week. And it was so loud in my head that I said, okay, universe, if you play a Taylor Swift song in the next 3 songs, I'm going to tell her after class. I'm going to walk up and I'm going to tell her. Next song, Taylor Swift. I said, okay. So I went up and I said, hey, after class, and I'm assuming she's thinking I'm going to talk to her about the class or the workout. And so I just said, hey, this might seem a little different. I said, I'm an intuitive coach and I keep getting this message through for you. Would you like it? And she was so grateful. And the message was so spot on. And my heart felt amazing after giving it. And now we've developed this relationship, which has just been really cool. So yeah, I think that you do have to know when and to
Yeah.
give messages and not. But I think when the messages are meant for the person, they will find it. The message will come to them,
Yes.
right? Like spirit did not give up on me delivering this message. And again, it was me trusting myself to walk up to a stranger and say, hey, would you like to hear this? And it turns out
And
she did in abundance.
and I think with that too, it's somebody that you were connected with every week, right? It's not like a random person in the store you'll never see again.
Right.
So it's someone that the spirit knew. Do you understand? Your energies knew, your guides, your angels, that you're going to see her again next week. That her loved ones in heaven are like, you're going to come back, like you're going to be there. So you just know that when you're in the energy, and it kind of gave you permission to do that. You felt like you had permission, which is a beautiful thing when you just
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm being given permission to do this, and they're going to keep doing this until I deliver it. It's like having a package, right? It's like being look at us. It's almost like we're Amazon,
Yeah,
right? Amazon,
right. Yeah,
Amazon for
absolutely.
souls, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like we're gonna deliver the package, and then you take a picture of it because you can say to them it was delivered. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of, I've never said it like that before, but it's kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of just makes sense when you just say, I have something that's going to make you happy, right? So when you're receiving a package, it makes you so excited when you open the door and it's like, oh my God, I was waiting for this to come. I was waiting. Like, I
Yes.
can't wait. And you want to keep it and use it. And you're so thankful for it too, right? So that's kind of what this, maybe that's maybe a new slogan for us,
Yeah.
but kind of this is just the way it is. It's like you're delivering this message, which is a gift, and they're going to be so happy that they received it and they're going to hold on to it. It's different than getting a manicure or pedicure, right? When you receive a message from someone that you love, or a message that something that's going on in your life right now, that they're trying to help you with heaven, my God, that's not something you ever forget. That's
Mm-hmm.
something you will keep with you for the rest of your life. You will think about it. And then what happens is it opens you up personally, the person. It
Yes.
opens them up to saying, well, gosh, if they're with me then, it means they're with me today. And it means they're going to be with me tomorrow. So it means
Mm-hmm.
I can ask. So it means I can ask. And this is what this is for me. I never wanted to hold on to this for me. I wanted everyone to be on this journey in some way.
Yeah.
They're not going to all do this, but I want them to ask. I want them to be grateful, and also be
Mm-hmm.
grateful and be thankful when you receive the gift. You say thank you.
Yeah.
So this is really what this is for me. And this is why I think the first time when I met you, when you first came in, it was like, I felt that energy with you. I was like, she's here for other reasons. You're here, of course you wanted to come because you're trying to explore all different aspects to see where your energy fits in, right? You go to
Mm-hmm.
different people because you want to see where it makes sense for you. And I just see you as this for you being an intuitive teacher is what I actually see for you. Because you feed off other people's energies. You love
Mm-hmm.
being in this group session.
I do.
You love being with the groups because you love seeing what everybody gets for everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
right? You love, like, it's kind of like you feed off of this, like you all feed off of this. Like, being a teacher is what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, is you're being a teacher. So it's different for all of us, and we need all of it. We need all of it. It's not just a either or.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what people, don't understand. So I'm looking forward to when we're done. I know you said you have maybe some information you pulled from me on your cards, and
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what comes because I said to you before, nobody's ever, what I mean, they have a hard
Yeah.
time, with personal messages,
Yeah.
like for me.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
excited.
so I just think what you're doing, and I'm happy for you. And I would love to have you on again. I think sometimes what we can do is maybe do it, have somebody else come on and try to, get information for them and see,
Hmm.
what comes through for them. Because
Absolutely.
I think it's a beautiful thing for people to see that we all we all appreciate each other's gift, right? It's never
Hmm.
about comparing. I always just say to people when they come to me, because some people do this a lot, they'll go to many different people and they go all the time, right? And I always just say, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
When you keep going, what is it that you're looking for? Is it something for you? Is it something you're trying to see if you have? Because eventually, you understand you have to learn to settle in. You have to
Hmm.
learn to trust what you have because not everyone's going to be your answer for everything. You have to sit back and start trusting what you're receiving. And that's what I always say to people, is be very mindful of how many different people you go to. Make sure, do you understand, it's something that
Yeah.
or make sure you've done your homework and it's going to serve your soul very well. But with you, you're on this journey. You were guided. Your grandmother's going to keep guiding you on this. This is something. Do you understand? She wants you to be up
Yeah. And
because
I
she
love
knows.
that you're saying that because I'm holding this rock that that's connected to my Nana. So
Do you understand? That's perfect
yeah.
because I feel that it's her. When I feel her energy, she stands. Do you understand? She's so loving.
Yeah.
Like she just wants to keep hugging you, and she
Hmm.
just keeps saying, doing it. And she also has told me to tell you right now, don't let any of the doubters get in your way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if this makes sense for you or rings true for you at all in your life, but the people that sometimes it's not maybe that they were 100% doubt, but the ones that you are not getting 100% validation from. Let me
Yeah.
say it that way. Sometimes it's not that they're doubting, but you don't feel as if they're 100% validating what you do,
Hmm.
and she's just saying, stay, you have to stay with this, that you're going to help many people and you are helping many people. And I do feel with what you're doing, I keep seeing you doing a retreat where either you want to offer almost like something outside or you're going to do something bigger with weekend retreats. I feel
Yeah.
this is something that is in your energy or something you're thinking about, but something they're, absolutely showing me. And she does talk about another, it's almost like another crystal or something you're looking at. I don't know exactly what she's showing me, but there's like something that either you want to study them more or you want to go to place and start buying them, like you want to start having more of them to give it out to people. But there's something about the crystals I feel as if you're going to be studying a little bit more.
Yep. That makes total sense. Yep.
Okay, because she's showing me this, I just feel there's, even as far as you've come, she keeps showing me there's going to be a lot more that you're going to be doing. And
Hmm.
I thank you for what you're doing, and I think it's amazing anytime you're trying to heal somebody's heart and soul. It's a beautiful thing, and you're giving
Yeah.
light back to this world, and you're a light worker, and that's what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's such a blessing and it's been such a blessing in my life and to be able to bring that forward. And, I know for me, it started on my own self journey and it gave me such a sense of peace and calm and connectiveness. And the world came at me differently when I was sitting,
Mhm.
realizing that I'm surrounded by love and surrounded by messages and surrounded by signs. And when the world comes at you differently, you can show up differently. And that's what I want to bring for other people, right? I want people to be able to show up in their most relaxed and energetic and
Mhm.
loving self because I think that's what we all are at the heart of it, right? And just stuff gets on top of it or stuff can get in the way of that.
I absolutely agree with that. I think when you set your attention or you're in the morning, let's say you have a job you're going to or a new job, or let's say you're going to a party, or let's say, with new people, or you're taking a trip, or you have a doctor's appointment, or whatever it is, or you're going to meet a family member that maybe you don't always, you struggle with sometimes.
Hmm.
When you can get up and you have that team with you and you set that intention and just know that that energy, no matter what, that it's going to be okay. Yes, that your soul's going to walk in feeling differently about yourself, right?
Yeah.
That you know this, it changes everything in your life. And there's nothing greater than that for
Hmm.
me. So I just think and one thing though, is there something about you with, I don't know, your grandmother keeps talking about this. She kind of smiles. There's something about certain chairs. I don't know if there was something about either certain chairs or beanbag chair or some sort of chairs people sit in, or like it was very important to you, either something, the way people sit or what they sit in your space.
Well, yes, There's two connections to that. It's interesting. So I have a picture of my Nana in my space, and it's me, and we're together. I was young, and we're sitting in our favorite chairs growing up. She and my grandpa had a chair that sat right next to each other, matching. And it was me, my brother, my grandpa, and my Nana, and we're all sitting in these chairs, and we're sitting on their laps. And I love that. But when I was designing this space, I really was focused on the chairs because I wanted people to feel really comfortable.
Okay.
And so I went through like, I mean, the amount of times we've talked about chairs in my house, you would laugh. And
Well,
they're
that's so
amazing and comfortable. So yes.
that's your Nana. Do you understand? That's
Yeah.
her saying, I'm guiding
Mhm.
you, because I kept saying, do you understand? Like the chairs seem so significant for me. So later on, I
They
have to have you
were.
send pictures of your space so I can put this up, on the podcast. I'll
Okay.
have my producer put those in, but and even a picture of your Nana, because she made me feel like before we finish, she's like, I have to, bring this up with you. Like the chairs, it's like you would sit on so many, you get them. This isn't right. And it's like, this one's fine. Other people like it's fine. You're like, it's not right. This is
Yeah.
not how I want to sit. This is not how I feel like the energy flows right. It's like about how the body sits in the chair and the energy flowing, the way your legs, even like come off the
Hmm.
chair. But she just made me feel like even the chair space with her too, like it was something, do you understand, very
Yeah.
significant
And I
for
think
both
that's
of you.
something people ignore too often, right? How you feel in a space. Like I walk in and it's not about what it looks like all the time for me. It's about how I feel when I'm sitting in it. And
Yeah.
that's like what's important to me.
Yes. And that's what she kept showing me. So
Mhm.
I just think that's beautiful. I want you to know she did want to come through. She did want to
Oh,
tell
I
you that,
love
that she
that.
was helping and guiding you with this, and she's going to always help and guide you with this, because this is something you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And you have an absolute truth with this. And there's like no stopping you now. It's like you're like a train and you're just going. And
Yeah.
it's like next stop, more people are coming on, right? The next stop, more people are coming on. So this is what I see and feel for you. But I absolutely would love to have you come back on again. I would like to do this again with you.
Yeah,
We'll look at this
absolutely.
continuation. And Kate, I thank you for coming on and sharing what you do with your gift also, because I think it's amazing. And anytime you're putting your soul first and your heart first, it's a beautiful thing.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for having me.